Good morning, class. Ang samples naman natin ngayon ay cables. Ito ay similar pa rin sa ating mga previous lectures, kagaya ng arch, tapos sa mga beams na merong hinge sa gitna. However, ang gagawin natin dito is kukunin lang ang mga reactions, but this time including tension forces dito sa mga cables. Okay, sa pagkuha ng mga reactions, magte-take moments ka pa rin at the ends, taking the whole body as free body. However, ang pinagkaiba nito sa arch, lahat ng parts nito, lahat ng members ay under tension. Samantalang yung arch, lahat ng parts niya ay under compression. So we have here sample 4.10 with 6, 5, and 4 dimensions. And then, meron siyang mga heights ng load. We have here C, which is 2 meters, and then D, unknown yan. Notice na at point C, mas malaki yung load, 600 newtons, kaysa kay point D na 450 newtons. So obviously, mas malaki ang displacement nito. So ito muna ang ating titingnan, taking the entire cable as a free body diagram. So summation moment at B is equal to 0. We have here 15 times VA. Take note na we have here vertical at A and then horizontal at A, vertical at B, horizontal at B. So, this time, yung mga reactions, bumaliktad siya. Take note na yung mga loads ay pababa, yung reactions pataas. Likewise, yung mga previous reactions natin, pataas pa rin yan, ano? Although, yung arrow natin ngayon, nasa taas na. And yung kanilang horizontal reactions is outwards on both sides. So, balik tayo dito. 15 times VA. So, what that is 6 plus 5 plus 4 minus 600 times 9. Ito. Minus 450 times 4 is equal to 0. And then, from here, you can get VA. Summation moment at A is equal to 0. From there, you can get V sub B. And then, summation forces horizontal is equal to 0. Notice na walang horizontal loads, kaya ang mag-i-equate lang or ang magkokontrahan na horizontal forces yung reactions. And then taking segment AC. This time, sa cable structures naman, notice na sa application or sa points ng loads, parang naglagay ka ng hinge. Okay? Also, in the entire length of the structure, walang moment resistance yan. So, summation moment at C is equal to 0. Dito tayo. Ko-consider lang natin itong mga forces along A and C. So, we have here 6 VA minus 2 HA. Okay? 6 VA at yung VA clockwise and then lever arm niya 6. And then yung HA naman, negative dahil counterclockwise. Ito ano? And then lever arm is 2. So from here, nasolve na natin before yung VA which is 418 Newton. So you can easily solve HA which is equal to 1,440 Newtons. Now taking segment CB as a free body diagram. Okay, CB. We have here negative 9 VB. Okay, 9 dahil 5 plus 4. And then VB, pataas, negative because counterclockwise direction. Ano? At point C. Plus 2 HB. Plus dahil yung HB, magkokos yan ng clockwise from point C. Its lever arm is 2. Plus 450 times 5. Ito yung 450, lever arm na 5 equal to 0. And then from here, HB is equal to 1440 Newton. Sinubstitute natin yung 570 Newton dito sa V sub B. And then we have tension at the ends. Ito. So we have tension A for segment AC, and then tension B for segment DB. For TA, ito, no? This is tension. It is simply the resultant of your HA and VA. Okay, parang hypotenuse lang nitong HA tsaka VA. So that is HA square plus VA square. You take the square of that. No? Ito siya, no? VA is 480 and then HA is 1440. Ito. So you have here 1518. Ganon din sa TB. It is the square root of VB square plus HB square is equal to 1549 newtons. And then, dito naman, summation moment D is equal to 0. Dito tayo mag-take moments. Ang goal natin ngayon, kukunin natin yung HD or this distance. Okay, so summation moment D is equal to 0. Ang i-consider lang natin lahat ng forces nandito sa right, okay, of DB. So we only have HB and VB. Okay, so 1440 times HD, yan yung horizontal reaction. Ito, okay, minus 570 times 4. Yung 570 na yan, yan yung vertical reaction at B. Its lever arm is 4 meters. Minus, dahil magka-counterclockwise siya, is equal to 0. So from here, HD is equal to 1.583. And then, dagdagan natin ngayon yung required. For example, kailangan natin malaman yung tension forces or tension force dito sa CD. Dahil, alam na natin yung tension force sa AC, which is TA. Dito naman sa DB, it is TB. How about TCD dito, no? So, we will try to solve that. Okay guys, so ito yung ating figure. So, meron siyang 600 Newton na load dito and then 450 here. Tapos, this is a point A. Merong horizontal reaction na 480. Tapos, merong vertical reaction na 570. Okay? Ito yun, no? HA tsaka V sub A. Tapos, sa B naman, we have 1440 tsaka 570. So, at A, meron tayong vertical reaction na 480 Newton. Tapos, sa B, we have 570 Newtons. Tapos, sa horizontal at A, we have 1440. Sa B naman, meron din siyang 1440. So, as I've said before, yung tension at A, that is equal to 1518 Newton, ano? So, tension. That is equal to 1518 Newton. Ganon din sa B, yung tension force is 1549. Okay? 1549. Ngayon, yung 1440 tsaka 480, syempre, yan din yung horizontal and vertical component nitong section AC. Okay, so, dito, magkakaroon din siya ng tension na 15-18. So, ang magiging component nito ngayon ang component nitong tension force at point C is the same as yung 480 saka yung 1440. Okay? Likewise, ganon din dito. At point D, meron ka ring tension force na 1490. And then, ang component niyang tension force na yan is the same, which is 570. Tapos, meron din siyang 1440 na horizontal component. Ngayon, ano ang kinalaman nitong 480, 1440 dito sa section CD? So, summation forces vertical at point C is equal to 0. So, 480 plus FV para sa CD is equal minus 600 is equal to 0. Yang FVCD, this is vertical force at section CD. Ito yon. Okay, so that is FVCD. So from there, you can say that FVCD would be equal to 120 newtons. Okay? So ang mangyayari dyan ngayon, this is equal to 120. So 480 plus 120, okay? 480 plus 120 is equal to 600. Next, summation forces horizontal at point C is equal to 0. So, si 1440, wala na siyang kakontra. So, obviously, this is the same as 1440. Okay, next. Punta tayo ngayon dito sa point D. Summation forces vertical at DC is equal to 0. So, this time, 570 is pataas, 450 pababa. So, obviously, yung vertical force DC is downwards. Okay? So, that is 570 minus 450 is the same as 120. Okay? So, that is 120. Next, summation forces horizontal equal to 0 at point D. So, si 1440, wala na siyang kaparis. So, this is simply the same as 1440. Now, let's look at section CD. At point C, merong 120 pataas. Sa kabila, at point D, merong 120 pababa. Okay, so summation forces vertical equal to 0. 120 minus 120 equal to 0. And then, you have here 1440, tapos 1440 din sa kabila. So, okay na yan, no? Next, let's now solve for tension CD, which is yan. Okay? So, that is now tension CD, yang arrow na to. So, ganun din, tension CD is the square root of 120 squared plus 1440 squared. That is approximately 1444.99 newtons. Okay? So, that's it. Good evening, guys. Now, let us solve example 4.11. So, the difference between 411 and 410, ito meron difference in elevation. So, B is lower than A by 15 meters. So, using the whole as free body diagram, sa moment at B is equal to 0, meron kang two unknowns kaagad, which is vertical reaction at A and horizontal reaction at A, no? And then taking moments at point A, you have vertical reaction at B and horizontal reaction at B as unknowns. So we have here equation 1 and equation 2. And then summation forces vertical is equal to 0. So yung V sub A and then V sub B, lahat yan ay pataas, and then minus the loads na 20, 40, 30 is equal to 0. Or the vertical reactions at A and B is equal to the loads. Kaya ayan siya. And then summation forces horizontal is equal to 0. We don't have horizontal loads, so obviously horizontal at A is equal to horizontal at B. Next is segment AD as free body, and then nag-take moment siya sa D. From here, dalawa ulit ang kanyang unknown, that is vertical at A and horizontal at A. So we have here equation 4, okay, which includes VA and H sub A. And then going back to equation 1, this also includes VA and H sub A. So you can now combine equations 1 and 4, which is this. So taking two unknowns to equations, magiging linear system yan. You can easily solve VA and HA. And then, punta na tayo ngayon sa segment DB. Sa segment DB naman, you have taking moments at D. Ang unknown ulit dyan is dalawa, vertical at B and horizontal at B, which forms your equation 5. Now you can combine this with equation 2, which includes VB and HB. Again, that is a linear system. So you have here HB 53.45 and VB 35.45. And then as a check, vertical A plus vertical B should be equal to the loads, which is, ayan. Next is, kukunin na natin ngayon yung tension at A and tension at B. Remember na yung tension at A, that is simply the resultant of vertical reaction A and horizontal reaction B, which is equal to 54.55 squared plus 53.45 squared, equal to this. And then, let us solve now tension at B. Okay, so same procedure. That is the resultant of the reactions. So the square root of vertical B squared plus horizontal at B squared is equal to 64.14 kilonewton. Take note that these two forces are tension. Ibig sabihin yan, yung arrow that is away from the point. Okay, so as a check, let's take segment AC as free body diagram. So, now, to solve for the distance HC, let's take AC as free body. Summation moment C is equal to 0. Ngayon, ang i-consider mo dyan yung reactions. Ano? Since yung dalawang reaction na yan, it will cause clockwise and counterclockwise directions, magkokontrahan sila, madedetermine mo ngayon yung H sub C, which is equal to 12.25 meters. Likewise, at segment EB, you take a moment at E, ang involved lang na forces dyan, yung reactions. Again, sila lang ang magkokontrahan. So, masosolve mo ngayon yung H sub E, which is 18.98. Okay? So, try natin ito. minus 35.45, yan yung vertical reaction. Ang lever arm niya from point E is 6 meters and that is negative kasi counterclockwise direction. And then yung 53.45, ang lever arm naman niya, this distance is actually H sub E. Okay? Remember na yung H sub E, that is this distance from the top up to point E. Ngayon, ang kailangan mo, yung distance na maliit na yan. So, ima-minus mo ngayon yung 15 kasi ito lang yung lever arm na kailangan mo. For that is now HE minus 15. Okay? So, yan yung lever arm mo. So, from there, you can now solve for HE, which is 18.98 meters. And then, for problem 4.12, ang sosolvin mo dito ngayon, yung tension sa section CD tsaka sa section DE. So, let's take AC as free body. Kukunin din natin yung reactions at i-consider natin yung 20 na kilonewton load. So, let's take AC as free body, but this time, we will consider the reactions and your 20 kilonewton load. So, ito siya. Okay? So, this is BA, and then you have here HA, and then meron tayong tension dito. Okay? So, kung merong tension dyan, dapat dito meron ding tension, no? And yung component niyang tension na yan, that would also be equal to VA. Likewise, yung horizontal component ng tension na yan at point C, okay? This would be also equal to horizontal at A, okay? Next, lagyan na natin ng values. Remember that H sub A is 53.45, okay? So that is 53.45, and then V sub A is 54.55. Tapos, meron tayong load dito na 20 kilonewton. Now, you look at point C. Merong vertical na 54.55, tapos merong downwards na 20. Anong mangyayari sa point C? Gagalaw yan pataas, okay? So, kailangan mo ngayon ng additional force para maging stable yung point C. So, summation forces equilibrium should always be 0. So, meron tayong downward force. Now, let's take this as V sub C. Okay, so, summation forces vertical equal to 0. Meaning, upwards as positive. So, 54.55 minus 20 minus VC is equal to 0. So, from here, you can easily solve for VC, which is equal to 34.55 newtons. Okay? So, isusulat na natin ngayon. That is now 34.55. So, we can check. Summation forces vertical again, 20 plus 34.55 is equal to 54.55. Okay? Next, summation forces horizontal still at point C is equal to 0. Ang horizontal force ngayon sa point C is C53.45. Kung walang kokontraryan, forever nagagalaw si point C to the left. So, meron siyang horizontal, no? Which is equal to 53.45. 45 kilonewton. Okay, let's take this as, let's take this as horizontal force at C. Summation forces horizontal is equal to 0, taking rightwards as positive. So, HC minus 53.45 is equal to 0. So, from here, HC is simply equal to 53.45. Okay? So, yan ngayon ang susulat natin dito. That is also equal to 53.45. Okay? Ngayon, pwede na nating solvein, since meron na tayong horizontal at vertical component, we can now solve for tension at point C, or that is T, that is TC D. Okay? So that is simply equal to the square root of 34.55 squared plus 53.45 squared. Okay? Is equal to 63.64 newtons or kilonewtons. Okay? Now let us solve tension DE. Okay? So, ayan yun. Paano nakuha yung equation na yan? Which is basically the same as this. Okay? Napunta na tayo sa tension DE. So, at point B, okay? So, this is point B. Meron siya tayong horizontal na reaction 53.45, which is this. And then we have 35.45. And then, obviously, meron tayong tension force dyan. Ngayon, yung tension force na yan, ang kanyang horizontal component would be the same as this, 53.45. Ano? And then, yung vertical component naman ng tension force na yan would be the same as the vertical reaction at 35.45. Okay? Next, pumunta tayo ngayon dito sa point E. Okay? So, at point E, meron din yung tension force. Kung ano yung tension force dito sa other end, gano'n din yung tension force dito sa point E. Yung tension na yan, meron na naman yung vertical component tsaka horizontal component. Okay? Yung vertical component nito would be the same as 35.45. Okay? So, 35.45. And then, yung horizontal component niya would be the same as 53.45. Okay? Ngayon, erasing ko niyan. At point E, meron siyang load na 30. Okay? So, yan. Now, looking at point E, merong vertical na 35.45 tapos may downward na 30. And then, ang mangyayari dyan, kung walang additional force, yung point E na yan, gagalaw yan pataas. Forever na gagalaw yan pataas. So, meron kang another force dyan. Let's take this as vertical E. Okay? So, summation forces vertical at point E is equal to 0, taking upwards as positive. So, 35.45 minus 30 minus VE is equal to 0. So, from here, your VE is simply equal to 5.45 kilonewtons. Okay? And that is downwards. Next, summation forces horizontal, okay, is equal to 0. Since walang katapat si 53.45, yang leftwards would be the same as 53.45. So, notice na meron na tayong horizontal and vertical component ng tension dito. So, we will now solve for this tension force. Okay? Let's take this as tension ED. Okay? So, tension ED, that is simply the same as tension DE, ano? Okay? Tension DE, parehas lang yan. And that is equal to VE squared plus HE squared. Okay. By the way, ito yung horizontal at point E. Okay? So, 5.45 squared plus 53.45 squared is equal to, that is equal to 53.73 kilonewtons. Okay? Let us compare this solution with the book. Okay, so ayan siya, 53.73, 53.45 squared, yan, tapos 5.45 squared, ito siya. And then, ito yung mga summary ng member forces. TAC, tension CD, tension DE, tension EB. Okay, so tension DE, 53.73, ito yon. Tapos, tension EB is, oops, in-erase ko na pala kanina. So, tension EB is 64.14. Ayun.